हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। ये अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, teachings of Queen Kunti, chapter 25. Unalloyed devotion. Unalloyed means pure. त्वयि मेनन्य विषया मतिर्मधुपते सुकृत रतिम उद्वहताद् अद्धा गंगेवौघम उदन्वती. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted toward the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So it's very, very clear. So first of all, pure devotional service, Anyamilashita Shunyam, no other desire but to please Guru and Krishna. Literally in anything and everything. Each and every moment of our life, if we are only focused on pleasing Guru and Krishna. But how is that attained? When all attention, this is why Vanaprastha is important, right? Because otherwise our attention is scattered. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, no? Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhav na vidiyate. What is that? Bhushaka anantascha buddhayo visayanaha. Bhushaka. Multiple attention is split into multiple things. So our attention is not single pointed focused. It is not vyavasayatmika. So perfection is attained when all attention is diverted toward the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this all attention is the key. So some stage of our life we have to come to this all attention stage. When there's nothing else but Krishna and pure devotional service, that's all. And Prabhupada writes elsewhere that one has to mold his life in such a way that he can reach this stage. Mold means it's a effort, it's there's a direction, there's an effort. It will not happen by itself. We cannot just say that, okay, it's fine, somehow it will happen. It will not happen by itself. Mold means there's a person who's molding. Like if there's a potter is making the pot. That means that he's putting effort, he's giving the shape. So we have to give this shape. Actually, Guru gives the shape. But our problem is we don't completely, align by that shape that the Guru is giving. So, and we end up out of shape. Mm. So all attention has to be diverted toward loving service to the Lord. And what prevents us from doing? To cut off the tie of all other affections. Now, first thing is it means that we have to cut off tie of all other affections. But what does it mean? It does not mean complete negation of finer elements like affection for someone else. This is not possible. That means not like gnanis, not like we become stones. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others because this is a symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, and feelings of attraction, cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. See, this is the key. This is the critical thing that needs to be adopted. So affection is okay, right? We cannot kill the affection, but affection has to be objective, has to be changed. That means affection, the object of affection should not be our family. The object of affection should be Krishna. Desire cannot be changed, cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. The so-called affection for family, society, country, etc. consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service. And please note, changed, right? It has to be changed, meaning it cannot be this affection being shown towards family, society, country, etc. cannot give us pure devotional service because these is just different phases of sense gratification. So desire has to be changed. Affection has to be changed. Affection should be diverted. Objective object of affection should be Krishna. Otherwise, we can't achieve perfection because the see the path we have to understand. It's a very simple thing, right? Path is that one has to come to devotional service and he has to quickly understand and accept pure devotional service. And in the initial stages of pure devotional service, we will have affection towards family, etc. But we understand saying that no, 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 that is not my goal. This is my goal. And then I start molding my life. I associate with like-minded devotees. I make sure that my sadhana is pakka, and remain away from things that are going to be that are going to drag me into mixed devotion. And as we keep practicing gradually this sadhana, gradually the affection for family, society, country, etc., which are just different phases of sense gratification, will stop. That's all. And we achieve perfection. At that time, all attention is towards Krishna and Krishna's loving service. In the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that Arjuna desired not to fight with his brothers and relations, just to satisfy his own personal desires. See, this is very important. We cannot be, our life cannot be just about it cannot be about satisfying our personal desires. It should be simply about satisfying desires of Guru and Krishna. That is pure devotional service. And obviously, for that, many a times I've spoken about this. First of all, we have to know what is the desire of Guru, what is the desire of Krishna, for which we have to read Prabhupada's books. We have to hear from Guru. If we don't hear from Guru, how do we know what what his desires are? And only then can we actually try to satisfy him. But I've seen many devotees, first of all, they don't hear from their Guru regularly. Second thing is, even if they hear, they will think it's not applicable for me, it's for somebody else. Just I mean, even those devotees know that they are cheating themselves. We cannot cheat the Guru, we are cheating ourselves by disqualifying ourselves from following the instruction of the Guru. And it's very simple. Those who have tried to fulfill the desires of the Guru, they seem spiritual progress, very quick spiritual progress, very simple. But we want to remain independent. We don't want to accept the instructions of Guru. Then obviously it's a tough uphill. It's a very difficult path. So Arjuna also was trying to satisfy his own personal desires. But when he heard the message of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he changed his decision and served the Lord. So if somebody has read Bhagavad Gita, that means they should stop trying to satisfy personal desires. And for his doing so, he became a famous devotee of the Lord, for it is declared in all the scriptures that Arjuna attained spiritual perfection by devotional service to the Lord in friendship. The fighting was there, the friendship was there, Arjuna was there, Krishna was there, but Arjuna became a different person by devotional service. Therefore, the praise of Kunti also indicate the same categorical changes in activities. It's not that activities have to stop, but it has to be done for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. Srimati Kunti wanted to serve the Lord without diversion, and that was her prayer. without diversion, with full attention. This unalloyed devotion is the ultimate goal of life. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non godly or not in the program of the Lord. See, this is true, isn't it? Our attention is usually diverted. It is not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called pure unalloyed devotional service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted that perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. This is the other thing I keep saying. If you want anything, pray. Simply pray. If you want make progress in devotional service, pray. If you want obstacles to be removed, pray. If you want somebody else to come into devotional service, pray. Prayers are very powerful. Her affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service, meaning it is also devotional service because both Pandavas and Vrishnis were devotees. Because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service to the devotee is more valuable than the service to the Lord. But here the affection of Kunti Devi for the Pandavas and Vrishnis was due to family relation. Kunti is expressing herself saying that this is because of her family relation. This type of affection in terms of material relation is the relation of Maya, because the relations of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. So we should not get confused, right? If it is on the platform material relation, it is simply Maya. If you are too attached to somebody because they are son, our son, daughter, etc., etc., parents, it's just on the material platform. Relations of the soul established in relation with the Supreme Soul are factual relations, which means what we have to see everybody as an individual soul, right? And no special consideration, except no special consideration for our kith and kin, so to speak, except for us to, carry out our duty as whatever, father, mother, daughter, son, etc. That's all. There's no other material affection that should come into picture. And when Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relation, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. See, Prabhupada in second chapter says this is skin disease. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. This relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via medium of the relation with the super soul. That means we see everybody as part and parcel of Krishna. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing by the light of the sun means seeing the sun and everything else which was unseen in the darkness. Now we are seeing in darkness. Seeing on the material platform means darkness, not seeing at all. But seeing by the light of the sun, looking at the soul and the super soul, everything which was unseen in the darkness can be seen. That is a way of devotional service. Any questions so far? Very heavy purport. So we go further, then we'll forget what we discussed. Is it okay? Okay. In the previous verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti prayed that the Lord kindly cut off her attraction for her kinsmen, the Pandava and Vrishni families. However, giving up one's attraction for material things is not sufficient. The Mayavadi philosophers say, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This world is false and Brahman is truth. We admit this, but qualify it. As living entities, we want enjoyment. Enjoyment means variety. It is not possible to enjoy anything without variety. Why has God created so many colors and so many forms? In order to create enjoyment out of variety. For variety is the mother of enjoyment. Um, Mayavadi philosophers, impersonalists want to negate this variety, but what is the result? Because they do not engage in devotional service, they simply undertake the hard labor of austerities and penances without achieving any permanent result. Okay, what is Prabhupada saying here? Giving up one's attraction for material things is not sufficient. And then he's talking about Mayavadis. Okay, let's see what the overall flow is. This is explained by prayer in Srimad Bhagavatam. Ene arvindaksha vimukta maninas tvayasta bhavad avishuddha buddhaya aruhya krishrena param padam tataha patantyadho nadrita yushmad angrayaha. O lotus-eyed Lord, those who think they are liberated in this life but do not render devotional service to you must be of impure intelligence. Although they accept severe austerities and penances and rise to the spiritual position to impersonal Brahman realization, they fall down again because they neglect the worship to worship your lotus feet. So basically, Prabhupada is saying that Mayavadis, they give up attraction to material things, but they don't develop attraction to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is also useless. So first thing which is useless is to having attraction to material things. That is lowest, karmi. Then Gnani. What is the difference between Gnani and Mayavadi? Gnani is not offensive. He's not offensive towards the Lord. He is just limited to Brahman realization. He doesn't understand anything superior. But he doesn't decry, he doesn't deride, he doesn't he, he doesn't offend the Lord by saying Lord is formless. Right? But he's just limited to Brahman. He's happy with Brahman. That's all. But Mayavadis are offensive. Mayavadi Krishna Paradi. Right, so Prabhupada is saying these Mayavadis, they might negate this material. They might say, okay, all this material thing, I give up all attraction. But it's useless unless they come to the worship of the lotus feet of Krishna. The human form of life is meant for re-establishing our relationship with God and act according to that relationship. Even in ordinary dealings, one businessman who intends to do business with another must first establish some relationship with him, and then transactions can take place. Similarly, a husband and wife establish a relationship by marriage and then they live together, not the other way around. In today's world, even in ISKCON, the reverse is happening. They live together, then they decide whether they want to marry. All this craziness is coming. In a similar way, human life is meant for re-establishing our relationship with God. The material world means forgetfulness of this relationship. See, this, and every moment we have to remember this relationship. That is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means not sporadically remembering, not remembering it when, as and how we find some time to remember that relation. Because then, for the time that we have forgotten the relation, we are in Maya consciousness. And when we remember the relation, we are Krishna conscious. So, to that extent, we are Krishna conscious. If we remember the relationship 10% of our time, then we are 10% Krishna conscious in our day. There's no Krishna consciousness in this material world. For as soon as there is Krishna consciousness, as soon as there is action on the basis of Krishna, it is no longer the material world but the spiritual world. So the more we are engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness, we are, to that extent, we are out of this material world. That is why Krishna gives so much importance to the sadhus, right? He says, even if that sadhu by chance does something wrong, I still consider him very dear to me. I still consider he should still be considered a sadhu. Why? Because very soon all those anarthas will go. But the important thing is the engagement. And the full purity might come, might take some time, but the engagement, complete engagement in Krishna consciousness is important. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahat gunat manorathena sato dhavato bahi. Krishna says, oh, what is the use? Somebody might be very good from material perspective, right? Might be a very nice person, very soft spoken, blah, 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 but he's not Krishna conscious. What is the use of that quality? Useless. But somebody who is Krishna conscious, but is still in the, still early stages of Krishna consciousness, eventually he will develop all the good qualities. Yashyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair tatra samasate suraha. Rava bhaktasya kuto mahad gunat manorathena sato dhavato bahihi. As a woman, Kunti Devi had a relationship with two families. That was her attachment. Therefore, she prayed to Krishna to cut off their relationships and free her. But after becoming free, what should she do? That is the question. One may be employed in some business and feeling inconvenienced. Resign. Uh, that resignation may be all right, but if by resigning one becomes unemployed and has no engagement, then what is the value of resigning? And this doesn't mean that we just continue working. It basically means that we have to have engagement in Krishna consciousness. We are working for 10 hours for ourselves. Stop, resign. Now engage 10 hours for Krishna. Those who are frustrated and confused want to negate this material world. This is the Gnanis. Naiti, naiti, naiti. They know what they don't want, but they do not know what they want. They know what they don't want, but they don't know what they actually want. People are always saying, I don't want this. But what do they want? That they do not know. Gnanis. What one should actually want is explained by Kunti Devi. She says, let my family relationships cease, but let my relationship with you be confirmed. In other words, she does not want to be attracted to anything but Krishna. This is perfection, and this is actually wanted. Hmm. So our attraction to Krishna. See, sometimes we keep thinking too much negative about, oh, I'm fallen, I'm this, I'm that. All that is fine. That doesn't have to be mentioned. Right, but what is important is instead of going negative, we should go positive, and then we should just engage as much as possible in the service of Krishna. We should hear so that we get attracted to Krishna, and not worry too much about our weaknesses or whatever, right? Our anarthas, etc. Automatically, we will that those negative whatever aspects anarthas are there, it will go away if we develop attraction to Krishna. Hmm. But if we keep talking about those negative things and not do anything to develop attraction to Krishna, then we are neither here nor there. So developing attraction to Krishna is the most important, right? And our acharyas say Krishna is so attractive that it's not very difficult to develop attraction. How difficult is it to develop attraction to Krishna? But still we have attraction to so many other things. So Prabhupada is saying this is perfection and this is actually wanted. Is attraction to Krishna. Attraction to Krishna happens only by hearing. Yesterday, I was here in Maharashtra. There are something called as abhangs. Abhangs are basically songs like our acharyas have sung in the Gaudiya Parampara. So there all the devotees in Maharashtra, many of them like Tukaram, he was initiated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there are a lot of very great devotees and very beautiful, simple songs. So I was hearing one very nice song. It's in Marathi. So it says Sundarat Dhyana. So his dhyana. I mean, just meditating on him. He's so sundara. He's so beautiful. Uh, and simple words. Simple words. Uh, just his form just attracts me. Like, and then we have this Madhurastakam. Some of these, if you just simply hear, actually that attraction automatically awakens. Simply we have to hear. But actually, even bhajans, what we do is we simply sing for tune, right? For music. Actually, that is why my Guru Maharaj, what he does is he first gives the meaning, then he sings. Because then when we sing, actually we are in the mood of that song, not in the mood of the music. right? And these bhajans actually by our acharyas are very powerful, very, very powerful, right? So if we understand the meaning and then sing them, simple bhajan songs can make us develop attraction to Krishna, and not some great, some shlokas and some, Bhagavatam and this and nothing simple. I mean, of course, that is the essence of Bhagavatam, what our acharyas have written. But in simple words, it can help us develop attraction to Krishna. This is actually wanted. This is perfection. Prabhupada is saying this is perfection. This is actually wanted. But this attraction to Krishna will happen only when we give it time. If our mind is always preoccupied with so many other nonsensical things of this material world, how will we develop attraction to Krishna? What are nonsensical things of this material world? Anything not connected to Krishna is nonsensical. We can justify, we can give 150 reasons to say why it is required. But the simple guideline in life which I adopted was Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjanam. If something is favorable for Krishna consciousness, it is good, otherwise it is nonsense. Reject it. Of course, there are a lot of nuances there. We cannot like just, but we should learn to apply these principles in our life, and then automatically we'll develop attraction to Krishna, and then attraction to the material world will reduce. I think I'll stop here. Okay, we'll do this one more. The word Ananya Vishaya means Ananya Bhakti, undeviating devotional service. See again, one more beautiful word. Undeviating, meaning constantly engaged, constantly in devotion. See, we must simply be attached to Krishna 24 hours a day without deviation. See, after having read statements like this, how can we be under any confusion about what we should be doing in our life? And we should understand that this is not like one day before death, right? Or that day of death. Of course, we don't even know which day that is, right? So even if we want to do it one day, the day that we are going to die, we are going to be 24 hours, which means every day, which means starting from now. And see, Prabhupada is very, very, there is no means, he is not mincing any words. He's simply saying should be 24 hours a day without deviation. Then obviously the question will come saying that then what about our duties? Which is why Varnashrama. I keep coming back to this. There is no conflict in this instruction, right? By trying to just do our duties without being attached is also part of devotional service. And that has a certain time and age when we have to close it. And then what should happen? Direct devotional service without deviation. There's a difference between direct devotional service, which is actually called bhakti, and indirect devotional service, which is actually called karma yoga. Karma yoga is not bhakti yoga. We should understand this. Bhakti yoga is bhakti yoga. Karma yoga is karma yoga. Otherwise, are there two names? Karma yoga is a dovetailing process where we are in a stage where we cannot give up and we are somehow trying to still connect everything to the Lord. But bhakti yoga is direct bhakti yoga, which is Shravanam Kirtanam, which cannot be done when we are engaged in some karma. I think you cannot be working and then also be doing Shravanam Kirtanam, right? It's not possible. As in, I'm chanting and I'm also doing my computer work. Not possible, right? So it has to be without deviation, without any other mix. In this way, our renunciation can be perfect. If we think we can be attached to Krishna and material things at the same time, we are mistaken. We cannot ignite a fire and at the same time pour water in it. So, see, being attracted to material things, Prabhupada is like comparing it to pouring water on fire. So we do chanting in the morning, then we pour water for the whole day. And then we see, okay, we are not making any progress. Why? If we do, the fire will not act. So whatever chanting we did, we are nullifying, more than nullifying by pouring water. It's become so cold that next day the fire is only not getting ignited. This is a very good example actually. See, our, so chanting is like igniting fire. Material activities, material consciousness is like pouring water. We do 2 hours of fire and 22 hours of water. And we don't even pour normal. If we pour normal room temperature water, maybe next day fire might ignite. But we pour cold fridge water, right? Then next day, even that fire that had to ignite for the 2 hours is not igniting, which means that during our chanting, we are still continuing to think about our material things. That means no fire at all. And just imagine if we continue like that, no fire, cold water, no fire, cold water. When will that fire ignite at all? There's no way the fire will ignite. So this is very important. This pouring cold water business, freezer cold water, fridge cold water, we have to reduce. And what is this pouring cold water? All unwanted things. Mobile phone, reading some newspapers, magazines, talking nonsense, asat sangha, all kinds of asat sangha. Is pouring cold water. And the more asat it is, the more cold it is. Freezer, fridge water, right? Like ice cube. It's like that. Mm. And many a times devotees don't want to follow themselves. They don't want to hear from anybody. And then they keep complaining, saying that I'm not making any progress. The process is very simple. Stop pouring cold water first. Stop pouring cold water. And then fire can ignite. No, then it can, it can really glow, right? It can, whatever, right? It blaze. It can really blaze, right? But if we are first, we are put so much of cold water, first of all, there's no like fire at all, right? Then what is the question of it blazing? So we should be very conscious about this and stop this pouring cold water business. Okay, I'll stop here if there are any questions.
And
Prabhuji,
then
what an
Vikrant,
example.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji.
No, no, go ahead. Yeah.
What an best example actually you have provided. It's so simple and it's very straightforward to understand that fire in the cold water. So that is how I think it will be easy, utterly easy for any common person to understand the differentiation. How we have to ignite the fire and then keep it on without pouring this cold water, what you said.
Yeah.
So I know it is very difficult, it is challenging, but thanks for explaining it very simple way. I think that is the best example. Probably we all can keep in mind and then try to follow. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for that.
Yeah. Prabhupada actually makes these, Prabhupada's writing that is why it's so powerful that, simple statement like this, it can really drive us home, right? It can really help us understand what, what we are actually doing in our life, right? So
Indeed,
all we
indeed.
need to do is like simply just take note of these statements. Many a times when
Yeah,
we are reading, we just like pass, we just go past these statements and not give it required attention. All that I'm trying to do is give attention to those statements which require attention. That's all, right?
yeah.
But Prabhupada has
And,
written everything perfectly. If we simply stick to what he's saying, our life will be perfect. It's simple. Like there's
exactly.
no confusion, no nothing, no nonsense. We don't have to do anything else. We don't have to do some fancy stuff, nothing. Simply
Yeah,
follow Prabhupada's morning program, right? Get up in Brahma Muhurta, chant, do reading, right? Which is what we are doing here, right? But the idea of
mhm,
this reading is so that we all of us do our own reading at other times also, but with the same kind of attention, with the same kind of emphasis on things that he has written in the purpose in his, in his works. If we
yeah,
do that, then it'll pull us out. No way we can remain, in ignorance. It'll just pull us out.
yeah, very true. These examples, any example for that matter, as
Yeah.
long as it is very simple and makes it easy to understand, then it is
Yeah.
easy to follow as well. So
Yes.
thank
Yes.
you. Thanks again for
Sure.
that.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Like you keep talking about one express after 50. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, as a woman also, or as in family with so many years, it's very, very difficult to see. And you say attachment. Prabhu, this material attachment I find it very difficult, and like a pendulum, I keep swaying. Sometimes my Krishna consciousness is good, sometimes it's slow, sometimes I want to give up the beads. I mean, I understand. I understand the example of the fire. I understand the what like this. How do you deal with it? And and as a human, you want that warmth. You want to be felt. You want that assurance. I mean, itna surrender nahi aata where you say, okay, I mean, I'm in Vanasprat and I walk out, or I'm at home. And if you're at home, you are tied up. You are chained.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
Yeah. You develop attraction to Krishna. Basically, that's what I'm saying. We should not worry about our material, where we are stuck, whatever, right? But the attraction to Krishna should be so strong, right? I mean, see, it's simple. If you just simply think and say that, do I want Krishna? Do I really want Krishna? If the answer is maybe no, then obviously we will continue with our material attraction, right? But if the answer is an emphatic yes, absolutely no questions asked, I want Krishna, right? If we are not attracted to Krishna to that extent, we are not going to give up anything else, because we are not come to a higher stage of desire, right? See, we are still at the lower stage of desire. So that is the reason why we have to hear about Krishna. That is the reason why we have to why we have to hear Bhagavatam. We have to read Bhagavatam, 9 cantos, come to the 10th canto, hear about Krishna personally, right? And I mean, when we do all this, when we do this hearing, it's natural. See, that's the whole point actually Prabhupada is highlighting in the purport, is about that attraction to Krishna. And that's the point I made. Let's not focus so much on where we are stuck. Let's just focus on, am I attracted to Krishna or not? Right? And the answer should be an emphatic yes, not a maybe, or not a part-time yes. Right? And if you is simple, sadhana is now saying that if I'm not at that stage of that emphatic yes, what do I need to do? Simply hear about Krishna. Simply hear about Krishna, right? As much time as possible in the day, simply keep hearing about Krishna. Read Krishna book, hear about Krishna's activities. And if we just keep doing it, there's no way we cannot be attracted.
Yeah, Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt here. So just I would like to add my own experience. Thing is, actually, I was fully into material life. So definitely, when I started Krishna consciousness and where I started chanting about Krishna or learning about things, so what happens basically out of 24 hours? No, it is not possible, spontaneously that, overnight everything will change. But it is a gradual process. But what I have experienced, the time you start dedicating the time, the whole day time where you are spending for material life, right? If you replace that in terms of Krishna consciousness, chanting mantras or listening to all these things. So that is how slowly we can migrate. It is not that overnight process. The migration takes place. How that is possible is only by replacing the time what we are spending currently on material life.
Yeah.
So if you replace that, definitely the Krishna consciousness and definitely Lord Krishna is going to influence us to reduce our interest towards material life. Obviously, this will increase, and it is just overtaking handover, right? It takes definitely a lot of challenges, but somehow we can feel. It's my experience that the material life has been slowly getting replaced. So it is not possible overnight, but definitely it is a gradual process, and we have to monitor that how it is progressive. That's my own experience. Just thought to share that.
Yeah. So I want to mention two things here. One is, Mataji's point is valid. So I want to talk about two topics, two concepts here. One is, Nayak Prabhu, you recently started Krishna consciousness, right? So we should understand that in Krishna consciousness, I call this the honeymoon period, right? The initial couple,
No, yeah,
year,
I remember you told
yeah,
last
the
time.
initial
First
year,
six months, you feel you have
yeah,
achieved everything.
euphoria,
That
like
is
it's
just
it's called euphoria, right?
yeah,
We are in that
true.
euphoria, and then actual Krishna consciousness starts. I mean, this is good. This is good. You're experiencing, you're figuring out, you're clear what you want to do, all that, right? But what happens is we have so much of anarthas from our previous lives that it comes up, right? It comes up and it like becomes an obstacle for us. And This is one aspect, right, which we have to factor in, and the other aspect is the female body, right? I'm not generalizing, but I mean, I'm not being specific to each person, but it's a general thing saying that female body, the attraction to home and family is generally lot more than a male body, right? And there are exceptions. I mean, I know so many Matajis who are not attached to so much, but that's also something that we have to consider when we are answering this question, right? So yes, it is true. It is true. The kind of body we have taken means that attraction, attachment to family, etc., is more. But I mean, irrespective of any of this, right? And we should also understand it's possibly much easier to understand. Actually, whole of Bhagavatam, first time when I was reading, I was like surprised. Wherever there's a statement saying that all the women are attracted by Krishna, all the women are attracted by Krishna. Then I was thinking, Arey, what is this? All the women are attracted by Krishna. I'm in a male body and can't I get attracted to Krishna? It used to like kind of irk me saying that what is this women attracted to Krishna? Then I realized actually if we start thinking of ourselves as male and female, then females can actually get actually more attracted to Krishna because Krishna is like that. Everything about Krishna can attract. It says like all the women of higher planetary systems, everybody gets attracted, right? I mean, so the point is that I mean, getting attracted to Krishna is not very difficult. Right. So the process has to be towards getting attracted to Krishna. That's all. If you forget anything else that we discussed today in the class, it doesn't matter. We should only remember saying that how do I develop this attraction to Krishna? And that attraction to Krishna should be so strong that nothing else is standing in front of it. Only then we can answer this question. Otherwise, this Gnani mode, right? Like trying to give up attachment, material attachment by our own ability is not possible. Simply not possible. Attraction to Krishna, that's all I can say. Nothing else.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Prabhu, like, when you're giving a class or when you're explaining, I don't know if the others feel it. I can sense an greediness in your voice and urgency in your
No,
voice.
absolutely, Mataji,
I don't know.
absolutely.
May not, or maybe I don't know. What I feel I'm sharing. You said attraction, it comes, it goes, one is pressed. Prabhu, you feel bottled. You want to be felt. You want to be felt loved. You want that, which is, I don't know what the basic thing of Krishna conscious is. Either we are ignored and the attraction becomes so much there, or we are trying to artificially do it. I don't know what it is. That natural attraction, like, I mean, I think you're blessed, and
No,
I'm still trying.
Mataji. No, actually it is just
I,
Prabhupada.
I, I'm, I'm, I'm,
It is
I'm
Prabhupada.
telling you.
No, that's correct. I'm
Yeah,
not denying. What is what?
maybe my karma, maybe my karma. I mean, I
Oh,
didn't want
no,
to
no,
say that.
no, 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 no karma. Oh, please, no, please. We have to
I
understand this philosophy. No, Mataji, we have to understand this philosophy. See, in Krishna consciousness, karma cannot come. Karma doesn't have a place in Krishna consciousness. Okay. See, that is the reason why our acharyas talk so much about holding on to those devotees who can pull us out. We have to hold on to those devotees who can pull us out, right? If we don't do this, then it's obviously difficult, right? Then our karma will take over, right? It'll seem to be more powerful. But when we hold on to devotees, and which is why Guru, basically it is said Guru will pull us out, right? But if that is not happening, we should hold on to some devotees who can pull us out. See, and this attraction to Krishna, yes, it might not be just of this life for me, whatever, right? But when we read what Prabhupada is writing, right, actually, it just, I don't know. I mean, I just read what Prabhupada is writing, and I just felt like, wow, this should be it, and that came into my mind saying that, and I've suffered sufficiently in this material world, right? And combining that with like you were talking about warmth and affection. I have not found that at all in this material world. I'm a warm person. I would like to be nice to everybody, but I didn't find it to my satisfaction at all. But when I came into Krishna consciousness and simple things, Krishna reciprocates, and I feel, oh my God. I mean, can there be any comparison to this love? Can there be any comparison to this affection that Krishna is showing? I mean, when I was initially in Krishna consciousness, I remember, some Many instances. I had gone out somewhere, some preaching program, came back to the temple, and I thought no prasadam that day. Right? And I said, okay, no prasadam. Suddenly one devotee comes out saying that, Prabhu, I kept this plate for you. I mean, I'm saying just simple things like this, and I was thinking, I mean, for what is Krishna reciprocating with me? Useless, worthless soul, just some simple small program somewhere I went and came back and I had no prasadam that day to eat. All the prasadam was over. But Krishna did not leave me. Krishna was so considerate, so loving that he made sure that some devotee kept a plate aside for me. Right? As in, I'm saying simple things like this, when we see Krishna reciprocating, you feel like, I mean, what else? What other relationship can come close to this? Is there any relationship, anything in this material world which can come close to this? No way. No way. Right? There isn't anything so pure, so perfect as Krishna. And material things, to anyway, I mean, no question at all, right? There's nothing that can really hold us back. Relations, really warmth, love. I mean, who can give? Krishna and his devotees. That's what I have seen. I have not seen that in material relations. I've seen only pain. I've seen only suffering in material relations. Right? You say 10 things people will misunderstand. Right? And you struggle and struggle. So many years I struggled my life trying to please my mother and my wife when I was before Krishna consciousness. Then Krishna consciousness made it so easy for me. And because I stopped going behind this, love of this material world. I just said it's worthless. It'll just drain your energy and it's not going to give you anything. You simply turn to Krishna and life is happy. Yeah, people will still continue to have expectations from us, but it's a different thing. That's a question of management. But where the heart is, clearly not in this material world and relations of this material world, because there's really no rasa here. The real rasa is with Krishna. If we read Bhagavatam and then what all the devotees are experiencing there, Sakhya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Madhurya rasa, you're like floored. What else can replace, or what can come even closer to any of this? Yeah, I mean, yes, it might be that I'm blessed, but it doesn't mean that we should not bring our karma phala in the picture, right? Because Krishna is clearly saying Traigunya Vishaveda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna. He's saying raise above this, about these modes, about these conditioning, karma. Krishna can pull us out if he desires. That's the key.
I realize
Okay.
that when I met you, it's not easy to be in your classes. It gives you a guilt feeling. But somewhere I feel I'm blessed because I think you answer most of my questions though. Sorry,
Okay.
but maybe that, as you say, get into the right track. So my path is there.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
God bless you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Otherwise, we can close.
Yes, Prabhuji, if you
Yeah.
have time,
Yeah.
I have questions also. And one thing, although I'm not capable of saying, but I want to add something to this discussion.
Yeah,
Like
please.
Mataji was saying, to develop attraction. What I feel like in the past years, this reminded me, just a verse came from Chaitanya Charitamrita, like Bhakta Pad Dhuli, Bhakta Pad Jal, Bhakta Bhukt Avesh, Teen Mahabal. Like
Yeah.
personally, I feel like when we serve the devotees who are pure, we get attraction for Lord. Like, and
Very
this
nice.
material attachment slowly vanishes. It has
Very.
helped me a lot because I am from a material background, and it's only the mercy of Vaishnavas, yourself, Shraddha Mataji, and His Grace Keshwanand Prabhuji, that I'm here today. I'm initiated.
Very
I
nice.
like belong to like non-devotee. So just I got reminded. And questions, Prabhuji, I have two questions. Like you were saying, prayers, like we have to pray every time. But
Yeah.
Prabhuji, as servants of Lord, we are like not supposed to ask favor. So this is my greatest confusion. In some lectures, we hear that we are not to disturb Lord, we are not to ask any favor. But
Yeah.
then um, I don't understand. Like, then
Yeah.
there are verses like Tatte Anukampam.
Yeah.
So please clarify this.
Yeah. So see, we should understand. We should not try to. So if we are in second standard, we should remain in second standard. We should not try to go and answer fourth standard paper, right? So we should understand where we stand in our life. We should not, that is why this anukaranam, right? Like we should not imitate pure devotees, but we should know where they stand. If in this stage of my life, I am, going to make progress by actually praying to Krishna, then it's fine. I pray to Krishna, but I'll not pray for material things. I'll pray for getting, freeing myself from other things, possibly, which is going to help me become more Krishna conscious. Absolutely fine. We will reach a stage where we will not pray for anything, right? But we should be true to where we stand today. If today where we are, we have to pray, and that's what is going to help us make progress, let's pray. No issues. See, that is why it is important to be Krishna conscious, right? Meaning in connection with Krishna all the time. Whether we are on the perfect stage, whether we are on the neophyte stage, doesn't matter. As long as we follow what is being told, and we are hearing, right? So this knowledge that you have is invaluable, right? Because it's telling you what your next step has to be. It may not be your current step, right? But it is telling you, saying that, okay, today you are praying, but tomorrow you should stop praying, and we'll get to that stage. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes. And one more thing, Prabhuji, as you
Yeah.
said, Karma Yoga is not Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
But like as far as my understanding, like in third chapter we read now, there are two types of Karma Yoga, Shuddha Karma Yoga and a Shuddha Karma Yoga. And the Shuddha Karma Yoga goes to Bhakti Yoga. Like Lord told Arjuna to fight for his sake because Krishna desired the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna was denying for his personal things like I don't want to kill my kinsmen and it will incur sin. But
Yeah.
Lord told him that you will not incur sin, you will work for me. So it is ultimately like Bhakti Yoga, na?
Hmm.
Shuddha Karma Yoga, when we don't work for our desires. So there is a
No, but that is
confusion.
still the stage of karma, right? See, the stage of karma, when as long as we are engaged in that is, see, again I'm coming back to this varnashrama, right? See, till we are doing two things today, right? Generally, many of the devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they're doing karma and they're doing bhakti. Bhakti is very simple. Direct activities of Krishna consciousness is bhakti. Okay. Now, when we do karma and we are nishkama, we don't have any desire, it's called nishkama karma. And when we use the result in Krishna service, it's called nishkama karma yoga. But it's not bhakti. So I told this before, when the propensity to work, when we are working simply for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, even if we can be engaged in any kind of activity, if it is not at all for our pleasure, then it is, Prabhupada calls it Krishna karma, right? It can be called, or let's put it this way, it is favorable to direct devotional service, but it's not direct devotional service. Bhakti means direct devotional service. There, karma, yoga is there, right? Yoga means connection is happening. So actually, let me explain it this way, right? Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu, he explained it very simply. He said K3. Anybody who knows chemistry, K3 means three times karma, and bhakti 0. Okay. Then next stage is K2 B1, meaning karma became 2, bhakti became 1, right? Then next stage is K1 B2. Karma reduced further, bhakti increased. Final stage is B3, which is only bhakti. Karma has to end, right? It is favorable if we are doing Nishkama Karma Yoga. It is favorable to coming to bhakti, but it cannot be directly technically called bhakti unless 100% or to the extent that we are using that money in Krishna service, it can be called bhakti. Meaning, I have to run a center, right? I need money. Right now, if I'm working just to take, like, possibly I will use some money for my own maintenance, maybe 10%, 20%, 80% I'm giving it there, that is bhakti only, because I'm using it to run the place, right? But most of the grihastha life will not be like that, because the money is being used for other things apart from just Krishna consciousness. So it is not a perfect platform. We have to, that is the reason why in grihastha life it's a little bit of a compromise, right? It's not ideal, but we have to come out quickly. It's a simple thing, right? See, for the amount of time you're doing karma, is your mind thinking about Krishna? No, right? So It's simple. It is favorable, but it's not bhakti, direct bhakti. But if you're doing like really all of it for just Krishna consciousness, then it's bhakti. It's like raising funds, right? Like devotees go and raise funds. It's like that. I'm raising funds by my own effort. That is bhakti, but not otherwise. This is my understanding.
Yes, Prabhuji. Like it is Nishkam Karmi Yog, na? The Shuddh
Yeah,
Karmi Yog that they call.
yeah, that's all. That's all.
Okay.
But it cannot be called bhakti
And
yoga.
it can lead to bhakti. It is not like bhakti. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically. Yes,
So, for
Prabhuji.
example,
Thank
let
you.
me give you another example. Somebody might not even be doing bhakti, as in he's not doing Shravanam Kirtanam, but he's doing this Nishkama karma, right? And he's offering some result to Krishna, right? This is what that is. So we are doing both. We are doing bhakti for some part of the day, and we are doing Nishkama karma for the other part of the day. But we should make it fully bhakti, and that is again coming back to Varnashram.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Cool. I think we've taken too much time. Let's close. We'll continue our discussion tomorrow. Krishna willing. जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Dandavad.
Prabhuji. Dandavat
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Dandavat to all. Hare Krishna.